Om Anirodham Manutpadam Manuchedam Ashashvat Anekarthamana Narthamana Mamam Manirgamam Yah Pratita Samutpadam Prapancho Pashmang Shivam Deshyama Sambhastang Vande Vadata Varanam Pragya Paramita Hridaya Sutrang Namah Sarvyaya Aryavlokiteshvara Bodhisattva Gambhirayang Pragya Paramitayang Charyang Charmano Vavlokiti Sma Panskandaha Tashing Sabha Shunyan Pashyati Sma Ehshariputra Rupang Shunata Shunatava Rupam Rupan Pratak Shunataya Shunataya Na Pratak Rupang Yad Rupang Sa Shunataya Shunata Tadrapam Evme Vedana Sangya Sanskara Vijnanani Ehshariputra Sadharmaha Shunata Lakshana Anutpanna Niruddha Amlana Vimla Nonana Paripurnaha Tasmacharputra Shunatayang Narupam Navedana Sangyana Sanskarana Vijnanani Na Chakshu Shrotragrana Jiva Kaya Manasing Na Rupa Shabda Gandhasa Sprashava Dharmaha Na Chakshu Dhatu Yavan Manudhatu Na Vidyana Vidyana Vidyakshayo Na Vidyakshayo Yavan Jaramanang Na Jaramanang Chyo Na Dukha Samudra Na Rodha Marga Na Gyanang Na Praptidvam Bodhisattva Se Pragya Paramita Masre Vihrati Chittavarnaha Chittavarna Nastudvatrastu Viparasati Kranto Nishnirvanaha Tradavasataha Sarbuddhaha Pragya Paramita Masrita Anuttarang Samyak Sambodhi Abhisambuddhaha Tasma Jagyatavya Pragya Paramita Mahamantro Mahavidya Mantro Nuttara Mantro Asam Sam Mantraha Sarvaduk Prashamanaha Satyamitatvat Pragya Paramitaya Mukto Mantraha Tattagate Gate Pargate Parsangate Bodhi Swaha Gate Gate Pargate Parsangate Bodhi Swaha Gate Gate Pargate Parsangate Bodhi Swaha Iti Pragya Paramita Hridaya Sutrang Samaptam Pragya Paramitam Bodho Shubratna Kare Swayam Sarva Paramitas Tatra Tadatmanam Vavasataha Nishprapancha Nirabhasha Nirvikalpa Niralayaha Nisubhava Parasushma Bindunada Vivarjita Pragya Paramitam Mata Sarbuddhodaya Para Trianuplabdhi Rupa Sarvagyana Gochara Niralamba Pade Pragya Niralamba Mahakripa Eki Bhutaha Deya Sadharm Gagane Gaganam Yatha.
Thank you. Masam Jeme Jero Bare Jema Jeme Nange Mo Ye So So Rang Ye Shi Tisum Jeve Yongla Chaze Lo Deata Gade Gade Para Gade Para Sam Gade Buddhi So Deata Gade Gade Para Sam Gade Buddhi So Deata Gade Gade Para Sam Gade Buddhi So Yendu shi wo zo no kun shi ni yin ye shi ten se kan ye dang ro lo ban ba ja na la shi ni ji den de lo za wo kan da ya da de be to no nam ba kun de na zo de song ba yin de ja ju sen be so de sa je jian ni yum de la cha se kan ye den jen de wa zhong ga ba me ba jian me ba cha ba me ba dang me ba wa me ba zhe me ba ta de de me den ji me zhe ba ni shi shi za we san je ma nam je tang ba de la sha se 다 단트리안도 저거디 상하 도시 대비 저거 이말이 나텔라 제다 산지 좀 된데 산제비치 아니 파송네 다 런이동 주제스 디징리야 야 당고대 태고시 무산지 까 말했으니 송해지 아니 루루 yapse moshung khone ta chungde yare jazanga luru yapse ge shungna la teksin 거주 사지기 아니 가서 그게 진짜니 다 간다 태고시 못 가르 두야 된지 송도가 다 대단 송벌 아니 산제베 상아 요 말이스 아니 상아서야니 아니 무직베 상아는 초 레벨에서니 야 되듯으면 해야래 다 간다 태고시 못 산지 까 말이스야다 아니 상아 산제베 상아 요 말이스네 소야 tadaine yode yore. Da pyo kanjeng chongla yode da sanje ge chedi ban Nalanda ni gyeba cheni Nalanda kebe zugjen ene luzu rongni gi sunale ya ene sanga ko gushi samanzo zor gyube ene sanga ko de zayare. ene kongi ene sajitu 아리안데 아니 주주자야래 고부르주고 제베 림 산데베 림메 탄지 아니 주주자야래 다드나 마제니 아니 바다 다와착베 아니 선주 저주근 제바 아니 이제 저버 전세제 달아서 상하고 흉들이 자샤 다 뒤치 아니 샨더럭시다 아니 캔지 쉬어서 더 별 페버리 별 산지게 담바 지기다 토마 지기다 뇌슝 와 뇌슝 더제 지기 또 보자 나야네 손지기 간다 되는 숨기 체에 아니 러버 숨기다 냠니 어디디 다 페버리야 거진 장에 다 조도 콘레디야리 콩그 숨 나라 상알라메기 아니 슝지 공자도가 가자데 대코난 이거 좀도 집어서야지도 상알라메기 저거래샤 괜히 씹어서 저거지 자자가다 아니 뒤치 조지 아니 별페버리 남전 자버리 아니 슝젠인데 자야리 간다 이니 조지가 남전 알아 아니 상아 이니 저거 이여데버디 남전 알아 삽샤리 상하이니 그 마사가 집에이나 근데 남자는 상하 그걸 가보지는 거 알지 이내 가보마주네 그것도 순구 말해 상하 것도가 저지대 인도산에 별 강제가 좀 나도 여대에 산지에 그 택버 지중 나도 잡아 차상지 차되게 하래
So the blessing of Manjushri that we are going to do today relates with the Tantra, Tantric teaching. And ever since the Buddha gave his teachings, there have been people who actually have said, even in the past before Master Nagarjuna came, that Mahayana teachings were not taught by the Buddha. And similarly, there were people who said that Tantra, Buddhist Tantra, was not taught by the Buddha, but in fact it came from the non-Buddhist tradition. And so there were such people in the past, and even today we have such people who say that Mahayana is not teaching of the Buddha, and also Buddhist Tantra is not a teaching of the Buddha. Nevertheless, in the Nalanda tradition that we follow, what we find is there are lots of scriptures.
Some people even say, when Buddha was there, the Sanskrit language not yet come India. Isn't it? When Sanskrit reached in India?
No, it was there before Buddha also.
Already. Huh? Some say the Varanasi is some kind of learning center, already use Sanskrit. Okay.
It was very prevalent.
Huh? Thank you. Now I got some confirmation. Very good. From one Indian. Thank you. So one Hungarian Buddhist scholar, many years ago, see, he told me, Buddha do not know Sanskrit language, because at that time Sanskrit not available. He says that. Okay, yeah. Translate.
So even if we look at the Nalanda tradition, we find many different texts written by Nalanda masters, including Master Nagarjuna, who wrote texts like the 5 stages of the completion stage of Guhya Samaja Tantra. And his disciple, Master Aryadeva, also wrote a commentary to supplement to that text, which is the Charyamila Paka. And then Master Chandrakirti Chandrakirti also wrote commentary to the root Tantra of Guya Samaja, and which is the Pradhibodhyotana. And later, Master Chandarakshita came to Tibet, and he was the main person who actually took the responsibility, who was responsible for firmly establishing Buddhism in Tibet, on the Tibetan soil, beginning with the giving the monastic ordination, and also giving teachings on the three Pitakas, as well as training the Tibetan disciples in the three trainings of morality, concentration, and wisdom. And so in this way, so such a person like Master Chandarakshita also wrote text on Tantra, such as Tatuv, and so he wrote this text, Tatuv Sangraha Prakarana, I think, and which actually relates about the Anuttara Yoga Tantra, the highest Yoga Tantra. And still later, in Master Dipankara Srijana, Atisha, came to Tibet and wrote the text, The Lamp for the Path to Enlightenment. And in that, he actually mentions and goes through the Tantric teachings. So if Tantra were not a Buddhist teaching at all, then he would not have also raised those questions and also taught about Tantra in that text. And so in this way, we can see Tantra has been practiced by the Nalanda masters.
Oh, yeah. And I think now, most important thing is the content.
The content.
In Tantric text. See, we have to examine. Like, I think technical the technical shumunal soon they were top the shiro go tell Javachen technical sungi mado. Jumde the song resini shake me doa. Long zang sing doa.
So
the Nalanda do that. Nalanda kept on reborn on the shop mado. The in the lonely summer society, so mare. Just out in the Hindu. Gomulu Umar Jitan Alia, Teshikaru Sun in Zane, any Tekwachin Bishumnala, any Ninja Sandwich Sunshas, any Chindu Sunshas, and then never Kardugas, Sunduka. Says all the Dirota. So that is now a Sang Chogo de Kandijimi, Sanjebe Sang Chogo, the year the Messiadi, that Sang Shunu to Shimjujana. That Sang Shun. 내 숭셰베다 그 가소르다 제대로 조직이 다 사이네 저 용기하래 다 사이네 저 고백하도리야 내버도 동리 공부도 다니 아니 사이네 저 숭샤마도 동분이 공부도 만들 동리 따와도 만들 사이네 저 공부하지 편해도 저균에 소식 처음으로 다 그래도 자 다들이 이르자는 게 아니라 동리 따와도 찍래 다들이 아니 청주성 다 샘지기 냠네 싸울 다 고유의 소용도 자다 도스는 신주 제일도잖아 엔다 가다 산제베다 최시 힘버디 다음에 다 손 동리 다 손도저 소용도 산제베 최이버디 디스 다 쳐셔 왔다 다지네 아니 산제베 슝근 나라 아니 다조 이네 시징 도도를 나라 아니 산제기 좀 더샤죠 투버디 아니 지단다 뒤내거리야 지 강사 개발하지 중대배 가서부터 루직 소리지 배지 뒤에 열에 뒤 초고 주고 온다 쳐버리스 대대비 초고 주고 연한데 롱주서버 꿀 때는 연구 열이스 롱주서버 꿀사디 최이 꿀 때는 연구를 했으니 최이 꿀사 연한데 자와 런신 남다게 런신 남다 루브치제 모니고 사지다 요하리신다 도시니 구시 남샤 송용도가 자다 구시 남샤지 그 타는 상담나 아니 로니도 주제 공부 또 좀 되는데 지금 차도 하고 지다 중대버디 아니 용시버 지금 상을 거도가 시 강사 패버지 아니 지 교대 게임에 지 십사고지 이제 가서다 교대 게임에 십사고지 단에 개 매봐 아니 루루가셔도 쓰제 애들은 냠바로 샤네 아니 지 가서다 산지 고방원도 제스러나 다 산지 고방디 유미 게임을 lem원도 제베 서로지 저도 지도가 좋아야 아니 나란저에 또 스타는 합탁할 산지하기 저 점초에 서로도 저 다디 산지 좀 되는데 줘야지 콩이니 간다 가서 그래 지 간다 초고 주고 전에 론주도 구이 남주지다 론주도 공원도 지하생이 대배 장외에다 깨봐다 찍든지겠다 간다베 친하게 게 멍구지 돈에다 쌓기가 돼 있으니 만드셔지는 탈도이도 뭐니고 갈라 또 연도 다디 아니 가서 저기 그 가다 주도 쟁 돈에 또 연구해 가지 시작해야도 다 든지 구시 남샤디 샤베 있나 아니 담아좀 된 얘기 지 구승수그 연대디 제셰 지게도 되리 지 아니 가서 그게 다쟁원에 용스 초가지도 용시바 삼는 로를 샤지도 된데를 구시 남샤서야 디 아니 상아 라미그 겁네 구시 두야기 터두기다 교대 겐디 나 라미그네 숭셔가 디도 삼다나 다 구시 써야지 용시바도 삼증도 샤야 남가 동배 인식을 진 루브도 주면서 지게 시하고 전에 또 되어야 말이. 그래서 드디인도 질 대신 산지가 주야디 제절 때나 구시 남샤마 송야 되기 네번이 돼야지. 양거 상아 라미 아니 산지가 주야리야 진짜 구시 남샤 송셔버 되기 녀링이 주들 현지적인 주들이 아니 나 라미 거는 숭셔버다 대상다나 다 되면에 뭐는 내술을 뭐는 내술 그게 예대버지다 다디 용초지 도 삼버지 로르셔도 저자다 가다 태신 거로 인해 상하 거로 인해 정말로 조 제셔를 따네 또 주주리셔 다도 삼다나 아니 제 태신이 최예다 아니 양고인이 상하게 쳐야 되지. 해지 쳐야지. 엔진에디 가서 그게 다 야가다 올이야. 아니 가서 변화로야. 라모 공부들이 야갈래 요리. 별이네. 라모 공부들이 배 투무 모임에다 지 가서 그래. 남다들이 얘기해 되지 이거도 와. 산지 창승 셰스야 나 시부들 용되기도 디디에 야오지 좀제 봐삼다는 삼다이들 스타트에 나 남주셔야들이 탈랭기 안다 디지 다 자주마스 페지디야 내된 제부지 콜리아 좀 된데 나와 세우 시우충제 좀 된데 코로 유승 정보를 써봐 자주 몇 건에 되지 콘로 세우 슈충 엔티네 공개니 좀 된데 마버리 니르바나스네 미네베냐 된 건도 제니 따지고 균체 랑게 또 중대나한테 숨고 알아 지라마요 중대나리야 지고 균지시에 알아다 지고 균지시에 알아데 공개 드리지겠다 나와 세우 슈충부터네 좀 된데한테 쇼샤스 진짜 숨대 정도가 자 드리인데 아직 드리게 미스트리 드리 뭔지 연대기도 와. 다 디디 디디가마도 공중 상담나 디디 여쳐지. 그봐. 셔다즈 아니 배버즈 배도로 스타체 아니 배 루지 담도 스테이션 셀럽트야서 저어데. 다 김제마도 수상담이나 다 팀원에 캔사시도가 삼았지. 김제시도가 사마지 상코 투아이도가
So when it comes to actually arguing for Mahayana teaching being the teaching of the Buddha, we need actually to not just say it's a teaching of the Buddha as such, but what we need to do is actually analyze the teachings themselves, particularly analyzing the teachings pertaining to the skillful means and the wisdom teachings. And so when you do this kind of analysis, you don't just resort to some scriptural authority as such, but use reasoning. And so this is the specialty of the Nalanda tradition, resorting not only to scriptural quotations, but using reason. And therefore, in Master Nagarjuna's text also, we find mention of the teaching of the Buddha actually, relating about compassion as well. And
Mahayana.
No, Mahayana teachings. And so the Sanskrit tradition of the Buddhism or the Mahayana teaching actually teaches about the compassion, the practice of compassion. And when it comes to such teachings, I mean, how can, he says, therefore, what's wrong with such teachings in the Mahayana scriptures? And therefore, and then, especially with regard to the Tantric texts, when we have to say that the Tantric texts were the teaching of the Buddha, what we actually also need to do is analyze its content. With regard to the Tantric teachings, what it mainly teaches is the deity yoga practice. And within that teaching, what you find is the process of how you actually transform yourself into a deity within the meditation on emptiness. From within that meditation on emptiness, without which there is no way to transform or visualizing yourself transforming into a deity. And therefore, from that point of view, where emptiness is emphasized even in the Tantra, you can say from the Kriya Yoga Tantra up to the Antara Yoga Tantra, all these Tantras emphasize the meditation on emptiness. And therefore, by that, we can say the Tantric teachings that we find in the Mahayana tradition is the teaching of the Buddha as well. And then, of course, the Tantra also goes through the practice of bodhichitta and other principles. And so, because Tantra gives teachings on emptiness, it is therefore the teaching of the Buddha on the one hand. And then, if we look at the Panchaparamita Sutras, the perfection of wisdom teachings, we find mention of the Buddha, the Shakyamuni Buddha, for example, coming into this Nirmanakaya form, which is called the Supreme Nirmanakaya form. And of course, in the Panchaparamita Sutras, in Mahayana teachings, there is mention of Buddha Shakyamuni being an extraordinary being in the past. But we should not just leave it at that, but we need to look deeper into the Buddha Shakyamuni being a supreme manifestation form of Buddha. So supreme manifestation form actually ensues from the Sambhogakaya form of Buddha, another physical form of a Buddha, and that in turn arises from the Dharmakaya, wisdom Dharmakaya, and in that the attainment of wisdom Dharmakaya also is because of the attainment of what is known as Swabhavakaya. And so in this way, we should understand how somebody becomes an enlightened within the understanding of these four Buddha bodies, enlightened Buddha bodies. And so thinking along this line of the four Buddha bodies, then we can say Shakyamuni Buddha was actually an extraordinary being who actually came at that time, 2,600 years ago. And it is a possibility that we can see that through the understanding of the four Buddha bodies that enlightenment, such as Buddhahood, is possible. Otherwise, just saying the Buddha was an extraordinary being who came in at that time without really having gone through the creation or the accumulation of merit and wisdom, it would be like that somebody became a Buddha without causes and conditions. If that is the case at that time, then of course we may also be able to say that we could become a Buddha without really cultivating the causes that are needed for that enlightenment. And that is not possible. And so
go to Buddhagaya under Buddha tree, remain like that, with hope, or next morning enlightened. Impossible.
So the Buddha Shakyamuni himself, before becoming fully enlightened, actually cultivated the causes and conditions for attaining that level of enlightenment. And therefore, by understanding, through the understanding of the four Buddha bodies, we could see the possibility of full enlightenment as well. And then, particularly when it comes to Tantra, especially the highest Yoga Tantra, we can see how the highest Yoga Tantra actually teaches the precise means and techniques for becoming enlightened and for reaching the four Buddha bodies.
The real sort of the teaching of Tantra, I think we should look Ma-yoga, Ma-anu-yoga Tantriyana. So the other the Tier Tantra, any Upa Tantra, Yoga Tantra, these are preparation of that. So Sangha subject should be nga lami subject kan samta jurisha. That di nangsa yontuya mebe jusane di ngonrolia any gyudo omosubuti. Gyudo omosubuti kora nangsegi en ko to siku sodu daishto. So nga ki kyeju shayona peji nga lami tane kyeju di shegyuricha.
And so when it comes to actually presenting or demonstrating the profundity of Tantra, we should resort to the highest Yoga Tantra presentation of the parts and systems. And of course, the realizations and experiences that are taught in the highest Yoga Tantra may not be easily experienced, but then because of that, we need the lower Tantras, the Kriya, Upa, and Yoga Tantras. And through these lower Tantras, we could actually progress deeper and deeper, and then enter into the highest Yoga Tantra practices. And so mainly when we have to talk about the profundity and the extraordinariness of the Tantra, we should deal with the highest Yoga Tantra. And so through the understanding of the path and the practice techniques taught in the highest Yoga Tantra, we can see the possibility of enlightenment more clearly. And therefore, what we can also understand is that the four Buddha bodies are actually something which is possible for us to, not just words, just principles, but in actuality we can cultivate them and attain those parts, and therefore. Through these, on the basis of understanding the four Buddha bodies, then we can say that the method leading to those four Buddha bodies, then we can say Mahayana is the teaching of the Buddha, and particularly Tantra is the teaching of the Buddha. And for these, usually I also relate some stories about how Indian masters in the past had, pure visions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, as well as Tibetan masters having such pure visions. And then another story that I would like to relate here is about a Thai bhikshu who was considered an arahat, And what happens to him, I mean, this is a recent story, and it said that this Thai master had a vision of the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha himself, surrounded by his disciples, arahats like Kashyapa and so forth. And so because of this vision, now what he confirmed from his own experience, from this clear experience of the pure vision of a Buddha and his disciples, although according to his own Theravada tradition, it is said they actually we could say that according to his Vaibhashika tradition, it is said that the Buddha, after having passed away 2,500 plus years ago, was no more. I mean, there was nothing left of the Buddha at all, in the body or mind. And when attaining what is known as the arahatship without residual,
풍부주도 지다도 좀 야사시 두시도 좀 식도다. 자자가 마버리 니르바나서 저는 방면이 안 된 것도 제도 리버 균시시하로.
So, according to this Vaibhashika system, it is said that when the Shakyamuni Buddha actually passed away in Kushinagar, it is said that he finally overcame the four maras, four negative forces. And at that point of time, the Buddha was actually said, when he entered into parinirvana, when he attained parinirvana, they say that the Buddha's, the continuity of the Buddha's mind or consciousness also ceased completely. And so although this was this Thai master's tradition in believing in such thesis, but from his own experience he could confirm that the Buddha was still living. And so such things are not just mere legends or stories, but it can happen to people even today. And so because of this, we need to resort to reason more than just scriptural quotations.
Yeah. So now, I think, wonderful sort of explanation in Mahanuttara Yoga. Firstly, you see, makes a lot of different level of consciousness. Consciousness with certain sort of energy. So grosser level, like sensorial sort of consciousness with grosser level of energy. Then dream state, a little deeper consciousness. And then very deep sleep without dream, further deeper level. I think yesterday also, I mentioned. So therefore, the real sort of substantial cause of four kaya. Of course, fourth kaya is causeless. But three other kaya is the dujiro.
The three other kayas are compounded phenomena, as we call.
Oh yes, according to Mahanuttara Yoga Tantriana, then fourth kaya also there are two.
So, according to the highest Yoga Tantra, there is within this Svabhava Kaya, there is what is known as spontaneously arisen Svabhava Kaya, which is rather a compounded phenomena.
So these four kayas, how? From what basis is these four kayas to come? Then the only explanation about innermost subtle consciousness, or usually we call clear light. From there, you see, these four kayas, you see, come, they because of the substantial cause in the innermost subtle consciousness. So therefore, you see, all these tantric practice, the visualization of dissolution, the Triya Upa Yoga, not very subtle way, but this is some sort of kasota.
So even in this so even in these lower tantras, there is some mention of or teaching, some mention of dissolution and evolution process of how we come into being and then also dissolving into the energies. Or we can talk about manifesting into certain forms and then also withdrawing those.
So, Anutara Yoga Tantriyana, now very detailed explanation, the dissolution. In each day, when we go to sleep, there's some level of dissolution take place. Dissolution where?
No.
Dissolution. Then dream state. You see, firstly, you see, you should develop more sort of stronger awareness at the time of dreaming. Realize, now I am dreaming. So realize, dream is dream. Then deliberately, you see, meditate in a certain area in the body. Then further dissolution come. So finally, at the time of death, you see, not through imagination, but actually dissolution come. 8 stages actually come. So each state, certain sort of different, also the external signs and also internal feeling. So all these meant for, the innermost subtle consciousness, clear light, should be something unique to yaji. So I mean, experience the deepest sort of consciousness. At the same time, try to keep awareness. Usually, you see, when that experience no longer awareness, the 8th stage, about 6th, 7th, 8th, about 6th, then the awareness automatically cease. So now through training, possible, you see, still keep. So then clear light, when actual clear light sort of experience, and with that ability, awareness, then you should remember again shunyata. So shunyata, difficult but most important part of practice. So the wisdom, the innermost subtle sort of the consciousness, become, because the wisdom which understands shunyata, then that wisdom is really very, very powerful. You see, as yesterday mentioned, the most powerful jihad. Our grosser level of consciousness, you see, meditated on shunyata, although you see, very powerful, but
But it will never serve as a counterforce to the cognitive obscuration.
시집이 녀부 정해디 뉴메 회세 동력 다월 게베 딘데기 동력 다베 로 캬바로 뒤집이 시집이 녀부 정도 셰 로락베 동력 그러다 또 가서 동력 고봉건도 주대베 로락베 지기 시집이 녀부 제도야 말이야.
So coarser levels of consciousness cannot serve as an antidote to the the obscuration to complete knowledge about everything, but only when you're able to bring up this use this innate clear light mind to actually be aware of emptiness, using that the view of emptiness with that subtlest mind, you can overcome or eliminate this cognitive obscuration, otherwise not.
다음은 저녁에 체두 체두다 체두 기름이 되기 기우 군질라면 자한시에 뒤송도가 유주된게 유진 촉배칠 유주된게 유진 촉배칠 지수된게 년부 촉배칠 시주 충정 안에 되면 사다 딜릭도 거기서 다 디마리야 저치 가서 봐 견디쳐 주고 배질 말이 딴데 양용요리
지수된게
지면조 시주 땡요레스 봐 이제 디년부 뭐지년부 땡요 말이지 일단 유주도 동반이 땡요르데 디 유제 디진 현실기부 땡요 말이지 봐 어떨다 자자자 디슈데 시주 충저 나래 되면 사티 식제도 견사를 저래 그녀도 자신의 식제지 그 잡신 아주도 식제지 잡주거든 그다지 하다 가사주 기시로라 그녀는 있었으면 봐 기시로라게 그녀는 식제는 완전히 어디 도지고서 또 쓰제도 어디래 쇠요
Master Jamyang Shepa, Gunkin Jamyang Shepa has actually said in his
first one.
The first Gunkin Jamyang Shepa has said in his a summary or the versified text on the ten
I really
systems.
admire him because he was Amdo.
And so, with regards to the profundity of Tantra, he says, although both the Sutra and Tantra teach emptiness, which is the main object that you have to realize to overcome the negative emotions and the obscurations in mind, he says that the Tantra, Highest Yoga Tantra especially, teaches the subjective mind, which is used to realize emptiness, to counter these afflictions or defilements. And so the subjective mind here refers to the mind of bliss and emptiness. And then he says that although the main defilement, which is the defilement is taught both in Sutra and Tantra, yet Tantra is more profound because of actually teaching and showing the main antidote to these defilements. And therefore he says only Tantra and not others teaches the antidote or the counterforce to the subtlest, this obscuration to knowledge.
So, one's mind open, unbiased, and then use sharpness of our mind fully. Then you see, make comparison. You see these different teaching. then gradually you develop conviction. The Mahanuttara Yoga Tantric so teaching is something very profound, like that. So, so these are, I think, important. You see, in Tibet, unfortunately, Tantric widely spread, but without knowing the real meaning. Just you see, carry puja. Recently, I was in Ladakh. I think about 1 year ago, one occasion in Ladakh, see, we have some my long-time friend together, see, having lunch. Then I just Trimji also there. Then one Ladakhi minister also there. So then, of course, all these people, many years, you see, as my friend.
No.
So very
Close friends.
very close friend. And then I express. I just casually mentioned the proper way to preservation of Buddha Dharma is only two ways. Either study seriously and full of knowledge, or the serious practice and some experience. There's no third way to preserve Buddha Dharma. I casually expressed that. Then the minister, you see, of course, half joke, you see, he responds, our Ladakhi monk, neither knowledge nor experience, only dung, because of not on that.
No. Only beating the drums, doing rituals.
It is quite true. Not only Ladakhis, but the whole Himalayan the range.
Himalayan range. No?
And then also in Tibet, in the past. Except those real the learning standard, or some individual, years, and hermit life, and meditate. Otherwise, there's many monastery or monk, like drama way. And worst thing, there's some monk, daytime, wear monk's robe. Sometimes in Buddhagaya also, you see, I was told it happened. Daytime, some puja, monk's robe. Night, lay people's dress, and then go different places for all sorts of work. So it is really, now I think, you see, it is not, not right, you see, remain silent. I think must make
Make effort, clear.
So I usually, you see, publicly, my stand quite critical. I always telling these are wrong. And then Mongolian also. I think in front of 3 Mongolian friends, if you give me permission, then I may say something. Few years ago, one occasion, I give a bhikshu ordination, a group of Mongolian monk, about 52 Mongolian monk, I give ordination. Then after a few years, another my visit occasion, I asked, now, out of 52, how many survived? No, then they say 10. Most of them already retired. So sometimes we, so I think, firstly, I think study, very important. But even some Lama openly stated, not for practice of Buddha Dharma, not necessary for study. It's, I think, okay, they are without study, some experience there, then wonderful, wonderful. But Buddha is the emphasis. Study. Without study, how can transform our mind? Just prayer will not transform our mind. So Buddha made very clear. Buddha cannot sukadota kasochuti. The tumnum dibu chui michushina. Royatong chaga misela. Niki togoshan pomindi chuni temba join yourself.
So Buddha himself has said that the sages, the Buddhas, do not wash away the sins of sentient beings, nor do they, take out or remove the suffering of sentient beings. Neither do they actually shift their own realization into others, but only by showing the truth, the suchness, they liberate, show the path to liberation.
So study is very, very important. And anyway, now too much blah blah. I think better to now stop. Now. So now, and then also you see, kasati, and the page chi kabat the sung nalolia, temper chizen the kansa gazens sung to. They are shadowed.
And so, according to some Tibetan masters, they refer to the teachings of the Buddha within the categories of those teachings which are which present the general structure of Buddhism, and then which is meant for generally for everybody. And then there are certain teachings which are specifically tailored for specific disciples and practitioners. Mm-hmm. So they make these two distinctions.
So it's quite clear that like Panchaparamita Sutra and the Vinaya, these teachings are Dhammachisanisha.
So the Panchaparamita Sutras come within the first category of teachings, which is presenting the general Vinaya, structure,
Vinaya,
as well as the Vinaya.
And of course some other sutras. That's the first category. Then most Tantric teaching are Kansa-Kwezerisha.
Yes. So most of the Tantric teachings come within the second category, teachings which are tailored for specific disciples.
Jazanga, Nyala Tembachizen Shungdi Lojunche. Didi Goswebshe. Didi Sheze Yevetola. Any Kansa Gwezen Sungsha Jagi, any source come the member of Sambajigi, any Namnichasation.
And so, therefore, what we need to do is first study the teachings which are present the general structure, the overall structure of Buddhism, and try to, through your study, to understand, learn these teachings well. And once you have done that, then using that knowledge to go further, you then enter into the specific teachings tailored for specific disciples, and then, according to your own mental disposition, choose the path of practice Tantra.
지상도 먼구지 견을 하야디 강사 거쟁기 다 최고 상하 지 규디 대점된 내기 아니 강사 뒤치셔도 뒤치기야 마 숭셔지 나는 구히사만자 야멘다가 히로가 like that 해반자 all this 강사 거쟁진 숭셔지도
So
당연히 비 장장 정도제 템버지젠디 도나샤 마지디 산지기 때문에 고쳐가 말이야. 산지기 고쳐가 말.
So many of us, what we do is we focus, or we become interested in these specific teachings, teachings which are meant for specific disciples, such as the Guya Samaja Tantra, the Heruka Tantra, Yamantaka, and also Evajra Tantra, which the Buddha taught for very specific disciples. And rather than what we do is, rather than really focusing on studying the general structure of Buddhism, and we focus on these tantras, and therefore we are not able to understand the teaching of the Buddha well.
So now, obviously, you see, in Tantriana, there are, I think, several thousand different deities, different mandalas. The Buddhism is someone of the Chamarwa. Kansa Chirawachi, so come the Meva. And in our limited in Shayundu, Sada Lunda, or Jig, Zolun Tigli, Nada Kadisimi, dead and Jane, any a judicial had lived.
So these thousands of mandala deities of mandalas are not meant for everybody, just like that. And what we need to understand is that these teachings were given to suit those disciples according to their physiological structure of the channels, wind energies, and vital drops, and so forth. And so they are meant for very specific disciples and not just for everybody.
The Buddhism wants to share in Saja Ningmo Goju, other Jonas and the Shashamari. The Kansa Gozeng, the one to say, you didn't remember. That didn't really any chicken, one long tea, Madame Ladies and any, that's Saja Ningmo Goju can I think Mongosu.
And so within the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, we have these orders, Kagyu, Nyingma, Sakya, Gelug, and so forth. And so, these cannot be presented from the general structure of the Buddhism point of view. But when it comes to the specific tailored teachings, which are tailored for specific disciples, then we have these different orders and differences.
Nalanda Pintu Chuptun Shadda, that Tabachizing, but Tabachizing all Tisha.
And so the 17 Nalanda masters, of whom I have written this praise, and we usually talk a lot about them, their writings are actually written within the general structure of the presentation of Buddhism.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, the Tantriana, one special sort of significant is try to manifest the subtle consciousness and try to transform that subtle consciousness become wisdom. So now Tantriana, the Shunyada Yuju said the Dezen Shiksha. Dezen Sorve, that Dezen Sorve, Kazuda. The Sanga did Shasu Yori. Sanga Chogogi, Chegadi Umetauche. Chegadi Yuju Vese, the subtle consciousness sharing. Chazanga, didn't Indu, Zogshin. Zogjingita, Ripasande, Chagjingi, da Gaso Numevese, any Gaso, she Chagjin. That did some Digaling to her. Veseg, Veseg, Murdine. Just one. Chazaga, that Dirisha. Chazata didi, go you get a Chagjin. Saje Sadun Songju, any Zogingi, any that told texture, that texture Tegeli Chachumano, Chenakanda, any the rigdong songju sunuzana rigba huese songshadi da huese zokum shidwa da ne shingi gendengi da soundwe kun sonna shingi nyumol hejitibe da 대동 이미지 시스 현지집에 대동 이미지인다 왜서라 간주거다 생외연 제강도 되기도 와 저들이 인도 디도 참을로 다 유전 왜서는만에 켜 봐보지 다 고기와 인도잖아 되니 쎄도 되는지 네 아니 이제 규지면자다 지 내도 는다 추부추부 메라메라 전이다 디리 용되게 하래 저도 디도 참을로 간다 유유에서 집어져. 어떤 유진교에서 캐버버지. 다 가서 그게 냠len도 해야 되네. 어떤 mentality 된다듯이.
And so usually there is a saying that when it comes to Tantra, Tantra, half of the Tantra is related to the middle way view, the philosophical view of the middle way, and half of it is concerned with the subtle consciousness of the clear light mind. So there is such a saying, and therefore what we need to understand here is when it comes to the different Tibetan Buddhist traditions, for example, Dzogchen or Nyingma tradition emphasizes on Dzogchen, which actually teaches these techniques called the breakthrough technique, and also the maybe we can also talk about refer to the Tögel, and these and also in the Mahamudra tradition of the Kagyu, they talk about the basic clear light nature of the mind, and then in the Sakya also they present or explain about the union of clarity and empty nature, and then in the Geluk system, what is presented is this called the spontaneously arisen innate clear light mind, particularly when it comes to the real experience of these. It's that stage which is beyond the mind isolation of mind, and so what all these traditions actually emphasize is the usage of this innate clear light mind, the basic innermost clear light nature of the mind, to use that to realize emptiness and use it in the path. And so because of this emphasis on the subjective experience of the clear light mind, therefore we have the different tantric practices emphasizing the usage of this very basic clear light nature of the mind.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's 덜이한다. 오늘 다 대대비 규질 하서 나리야. 아니 엔다 가지고 규질 하서 나리야. 야. 제균의 송지기 배지 규리 시간 알아. 아니 지금 싫어도야 조 싫어다 가서 사다. 야 다가는 지금 인지사다. 전에서니 지日日량 거시로 메다메다 유대버지 도가 다안데디 만수시 싫어고라 다 된지 싫어고라 만수시사 대 양열 상단디도 만수시 가사치 사는다 마란소다 규 타데베 딱 마란소 쓰입니다 딱 가다 지 강사 랑스버지기 만수시지 용초가 다양 개근 캠베 랑수 수잔에 점된데 라소웨 딱 간다 아니 디시셰베 간다 지 제외연데 아니 하이 수수 샤데버지 디 야와군이 캠베 랑수스라도 강사 랑스버지 패지 말이 와 이네 다고 칠레 뱀을 흔들어서 인부 인주잖아요. 거다 그게 강사랑서 지금 신기다 저차 연구로다. 자, 드네 인주잖아요. 드네 집에 있나? 야 강사랑서 지금 매매시 겨우군지 이 캠베랑수 대신도 전에서 제외랑수 창단도지 누배랑수 아니 저만도 못하잖아. 아니 개근기 다 틀레랑수래. 롱금 넘다 틀레랑수 루틀도 와. 다양 강사 지라버지기 변나 자양도 주니 거라 아니 지주자배지 고방문도 제인도잖아요. 배지 지주자배야 강사 랑스버지 배지 샤트야르샤. 다른 것도 돼야다. 얘라다 지금 제외령 속에 단 자배야. 다 들지. 그다 친로 쉬어야지. 다 들려야 저주든지니 아니 저주든지 라메든지 주주든지 근데 기술 소소스 난게 용도가 다 주더면라. 사를 집어체. 사 집어체. 그래도 그 주단디 야 뒤제 왜 감다. 뒤네 저주다도 줘야. 주주다도 줘야. 아니 내저주다도 줘야. 라메다도 줘야. 두승도. 다 들지 저주다도 줘야 되셔. 단 자매야래 야 넘준다면다 지 배나 자야 알아봐서는 다 조르지 지거래 자 3월로 주시도 알아봐서 송도가 다 아니 다가는 지금 자매 신우교 봐 자야 마였생게 아니 대양도다 자야 깔고 와서 잘했어বে 자매기야 낭시 양지 틀리 면자와다 제제라 아니 야 넘주 가서 꾸이 철로다 근데 또 저부터 면하지 다 안다 거기서 어디 자 깔고 저 싫어가 하지 이말라 야 거슈르지 거슈지디 참바의 닝지 야 가서 그게 냠뇽 공도 빼야래야 야고 믹스 야 제주도 싫으셔 자 깔고
So, with regard to the deity yoga practice, I mean, related with the mandalas, different mandalas of the different deities, hosts of different deities in Tantra, of course, we have the Kriya Yoga, Tantra, and so forth, teaching the practices for increasing one's wisdom or compassion. And so the deities themselves may have special significance to arise in that form of the deity. For example, for wisdom, we usually relate to Manjushri for our practice. And of course, with regard to Manjushri, we can understand the two different aspects. One is there could be a Manjushri who is an individual being, and who has become enlightened as an individual being. It's called, and then there is also a Manjushri aspect, which is seen as an embodiment of the compassion of, the wisdom and knowledge of all the Buddhas as well. And so, although we can have such a Manjushri as an embodiment of knowledge and wisdom of all the Buddhas, but when it comes to actually performing or serving sentient beings, that being can actually act as an individual being, like any other individual being, to carry out the enlightened deeds of the Buddhas. And so, because of that, we have so because of that, then we also have the other deities as well, who are embodiments of compassion. For example, Avalokiteshvara is the embodiment of all the compassion of all the Buddhas, and then Vajrapani as the embodiment of the power of all the Buddhas, and then Aryatara as the manifestation of the pure purification of the energy of all the Buddhas, arising in the form of a deity to carry out the enlightened deeds of all the Buddhas. So we could have those kind of deities as not just a specific kind of individual as others, but as the embodiment of the enlightened deeds and compassion and so forth of Buddhas. All the Buddhas, and then in reliance on such a deity as whose embodiment, for example, when you rely on Manjushri in your practice, and then when you actually go through the transformation process and become enlightened in the form of Manjushri, you are a specific Manjushri as an individual. And so, in this way, although we could have in the tantras now the same deity like Manjushri, but according to the mental dispositions of different practitioners, we could either rely on the practice of the Kriya Tantra or Charya or Yoga Tantra or the Anuttara Yoga Tantra. Then these are dependent on the mental dispositions of the disciples, the practitioners. And here we are doing the blessing of Manjushri that comes within the Kriya Yoga Tantra. And here, with regard to Manjushri, of course, generally there are different forms of Manjushri or different aspects with different names as well, such as the youthful Manjushri or the called lion's roar Manjushri, and then we also have the white Manjushri, of which at this point we are going to do the blessing of white Manjushri within the Kriya Yoga Tantra. And Manjushri, of course, mainly is meant for this particular Manjushri here, white Manjushri, is meant mainly for cultivating wisdom. But there is also a special significance of this particular Manjushri with regard to, which has also to do with the practice of cultivation of love and compassion as well. No. And so, according to the different disciples, dispositions, the Manjushri could also appear in these different aspects.
Oh yeah. Most, I think, Tibetan masters, Nyingma, Goju, Sajja, Kadam, Gilu, and Chonang, I think most of them, you see, as a result of meditation of Manjushri, then they become very well-known great scholars because of the wisdom. As I briefly mentioned yesterday also. Okay. That Galia, that in the Chinulia, one citizenita, Yanko Tomata, you membership, Chigi, one chair. Any one top new chigler, any Yankora, mix it, Druchar, mixage, charia, any Jesunawasa, Jenas at Yungari. So that 3 day Johnson, one Tom New Jibina, any Sosurani, down the Shamtang, Takukomia to check. One Tom Monung Jibina, any Rang Julia, Jan Settlement, Rani, Jan Comiati, Jimari, Duxinda.
And so with regard to what we call blessings, it could come in the form of full-fledged initiations or empowerments. Here, initiation or empowerment refers to, it has to do with, in maturing our mind for the practice of that particular deity. And initially, and then if you have received a full-fledged initiation, and at this, when we go through this process of the blessing of Manjushri here, you could actually visualize yourself transforming into Manjushri when we come through the go through the ritual, and when we come to that point. If you have received a full-fledged initiation before, and if you haven't received such an initiation before, then you cannot go through the process of transforming yourself, visualizing into transforming yourself into into the deity. But what you can do is visualize the Manjushri sitting on your crown.
Yeah. Is this blessing sort of as the rinju jasa, the chana drama the mogu chig to jahasu you to shiri. Thing that shinju gana a taram in the shivi.
So this particular blessing of Manjushri, which is a jenang, not a full-fledged initiation, a jenang, which is given, I'm sorry, I forgot this earlier, which is given to someone to do, particularly emphasize, to emphasize the practice of the deity. And so after receiving a full-fledged initiation, and therefore it's sometimes called the permission or subsequent permission, and this particular subsequent permission of White Manjushri comes from this collection of different tantric initiations and jenangs, which is called the hundreds which has over 100 different collection, different blessings and empowerments called Rinjung Gyatsa. So hundreds of different initiations or the blessings called the Rinjung. So I received it in my childhood from Tata Rinpoche.
Okay. So now, Mushi, that get out the deep shit. That ne, Saji, Beju Jujan, reservation in data. Sanjay Media over here, number of either Mongol and Mandela, Jaya, Daya, me. That the gender missing of Gomota. That again, the dish. Tanga Munju Surgery, Casa, the Kenyanga, and undertaking by dishes, the Gomba Shara Tone, that goes over, Jambayang, that Rani, any top Chanju Sunda, Niji Chambo, Dindrigita, Yamne Yauji on to a chicta, any shirp, so in a tamito way shirp, told you any shirp in Yamne, Conacon to pay her, the Cheto, any Jambayang, Jan Garber. Any Jana Narana, Samaji, Sanguinine, Dinea dos, Casota, Soto, sometimes generation watching sometimes.
And so, as requisite preliminary to this particular blessing, just try to remind yourself of the teaching on emptiness and compassion that you have received in the last 2 days, and today also, and then reflect on the meaning of emptiness and compassion, bodhichitta. And so, in order to be able to increase your experience of wisdom and skillful means, and particularly will not do the repetition of the lines of request, but just from your heart, make this determination that you are actually requesting for this blessing, the subsequent permission of White Manjushri.
Yeah. I think you see those people who have their own the tradition, who also believe, you see, creator, like Jesus, or according to Christian sort of God, and also Islam, Muslim sort of Allah, like that. You see, you can imagine, you see, your own refuge, right? Give you so any church, samdana, degree.
So those of you who follow any other traditions like theistic religions, you could imagine your own, the highest object of refuge, is God or whatever you call him. You can imagine that.
Yeah. Then non-believer, and okay, you see, this moment, you see, you simply, you see, try to cultivate this already.
No.
Try to cultivate altruism. Nobody can deny we are not human beings. Right. No. We are human beings, so nobody can deny we are human beings.
No.
So we are social animal. So any social animal, you see, there should be something, you see, to bring together. So that's love. Even animal also. Those social animals, you see, they have some sort of feeling, you see, the concept of, although they have no language, but the concept of we, they also have. At the small ant, they also, I think, very strong sort of feeling of we work together, isn't it? No constitution, no religion, no sort of police force, no court, but they work. Because, you see, their survival depends on their harmony. So we also like that. So as a human being, whether believer or non-believer, you see, we need sense of concern of others' well-being. So, you see, now here, especially, you see, cultivating that feeling, and then make some kind of pledge. Pledge. You see, now, rest of my life, I say, I never sort of cause trouble. I never neglect about these inner value. Okay. Those. Then, to the Buddhist, or even if it's Christian or Muslim, so you imagine, because of the imagine, all the past great sort of saints or great, the practitioner of each, one's own sort of the lineage, to visualize. And then, to the Buddhist, you see Buddha, Bodhisattvas, and also, you see the Indian sort of masters, and then 6th, 7th century, particularly since 8th century, that those, you see, Tibetan masters, you see, visualize.
No.
All, you see, in front of us, you see. Then,
Yes. So with this visualization, as His Holiness already gave you, let us repeat this pledge.
That's the Kunjo Sumlo, Dojoshi, Tibetamja, Sososha, Royagala, Jera, Sanje Chanju, Yiji, Sung, Sak, Sholoka Jikti. That's not the Nangwazola, Kunjo Sumlo, Dojisat. Chulu Mendra, Menzo, undertaking Sosos, Tambatelia, the Joschi, Gone, and that near Andobodu, she shall never chava. She shall Zawa Machava, Hayang Tama, the dig no duty sound, Gonda, and Noshas and Shabache. And she runs the Bulin Digange, she draw 그래서 다음에 간다지 샴페인 중에 진행 뒤에들라 오늘 전에 이 뭐를 뜨니 어디 지수이란 체 저걸 제라스 아니 산제 신주 이지숨 사다디 산제 버즈 아니 산제 정주 사 다디 정주를 정주 숨세 년뒤 정주 랑 산제 정주 아니 다 산제 정주 방 특징 정주 예외 인도잖아요 다도 산제 정주 사디 다시 되면도 생기 다 상계 사디 부다 사디 고아 방배찬에 아니 지금 멤버 싸워다 지금 싸워다 얘네들이 방배해야 되지 상사디 게 사디 아니 시시타다 시디 방배 인도잖아요 시시타다라 남주 다 베게 용수 게니 다 시시군 캠바지 디상 게사 게사지 어디르다 부다스야 고 니가로 피 나로리아 상게사기 다 민시티나다 뒤제야리 어다 어디르니 산지지고 말이네 톱을 쇼지 톱을 좌우냐 봐지 대대로 산지지고 봐 톱 투야생에디 아니 가설러는 신기 아니 산지지고 봐 톱을 객신이 로디 간다 미시바다 미시베다 박샤지가라 누구야래 머리보다 머리보 박샤간 로디야래 저자한테 아니 녀부담대 예배잖아요 루블로이 봐 봐. 자 진리인도 그 제로이 봐. 다 가수시면 신기 디지 상단에 어다디 난게테도 심지어탐저로 아니 진리들보다 간다 그 참말로 세루이 붙이다 아니 도배연데 다 기름이 붙이 다 들여 상단에 심지어 타다 다 뒤니 탈심없이 그 살이야 그 사바지다 대체도 랑기 아니 산제 전주 고마 아니 뭐도 저기 사바지 이기 숨슬라다 생기때 뭐도 제하게 라 담제가 아다디 두비 전에 걔네 담제자지가 다 심지 숨어서 되지 말이
And so when we go through these 4 lines which say, I seek refuge in the 3 jewels. Now, for the non-Buddhists, of course, you should think of your own deity, God, or Allah, whatever. And then having taken this kind of, given in yourself, submitting yourself to these higher powers, then next you say, I confess all my misdeeds individually. Now here, wrongdoings can mainly include, whatever harmful things you have done. You may have done towards others, harming them or hurting others, or not being compassionate and kind towards others. And so just remind yourself of all these wrongdoings, and then feel regret and confess. And then next you say, I rejoice in the virtuous deeds of all beings. And so this could include, could be a reference to, whatever good things others and yourself have done to serve others, to help others, you should rejoice in them. And so, and then the 4th line says, I take to my heart Buddha's enlightenment. And so with regard to enlightenment generally, there are the enlightenment of the Shravakayana and Pratyeka Buddhayana and Bodhisattvayana. And so particularly here we are referring to the Buddha enlightenment of Buddhahood. And therefore what Buddhahood actually comprise is the total elimination of all the negativities from within one's mind stream, and also gaining or attaining total knowledge of everything as it is. And so by overcoming what is known as the obscuration to knowledge of all. And so a Buddha is an embodiment of both the realizations of the path as well as the elimination of all defilements from within his or her mind stream. And so understanding this, then one should make this pledge or to become a Buddha for the benefit of all the rest of sentient beings. And so in order to attain Buddhahood, what we must understand is what hinders us from reaching that goal. The main hindrance is the latent potency or the imprints left by our ignorance, distorted view. And so to overcoming the distorted view of ignorance, together with the latent potencies it leaves, which is basically called the cognitive obscuration or obscuration to knowledge, then when you overcome it completely, you reach Buddhahood. And so with that understanding of Buddhahood, you should actually think of leading all other sentient beings to that kind of state of enlightenment, Buddhahood. And in order to be able to do that, you should pledge yourself to become a Buddha. And therefore, with that understanding, make that pledge to work to become a Buddha in order to help all other sentient beings.
Oh yeah. 다들이야 진짜기 지금 샴페인 그 삼바 주야 계약성이디 양 지단에 가실 때 구도가 지금 샴페인 랑 가서 직선다 가자 양은 다 지금 챙깁니다. 다 가다 현재는 실전에 지금 소속하게다 지금 삼등이 해봤을지 다들 고하는 논주지 만에 나 그전에 무슨 럽 차를 로스다 러요래 저가다 준준의 소야지 지금 동에 진입어 되게 장전들래죠 지금 대화 진입어 되게 현전들래죠 손도가 엔디 덤데 망도 샤다 매지고 지시고 집을 안 getön시다 두번씩 getön서 니기니 개발 됐잖아요 손도가 다들이 있는 널 되는데 닥터 생기 때문에다 양다 저를 맞잖아 산제인도 민주신 코하나야 대화 매세 속도가 사진이 인도산에다 소소로 지부 신해지면이나 다 금전 대버지다 최고 끝도다 패버지기 지게 있나 아니 뭐냐 전에게 랑 지부는 지야디 남주 대버 잡으래 풀 패매등에 채식이다 심 용업의 상황도 여더버들 지금 태부지 치보여야 되지 않은 치보이나 풀 경험을 요하래 대 남주 정신아 멤버다 또가 사진의 인도산에 다 팬배 상바디 랑드 지준준을 순여래배 랑드 주야디 장주성 거면아래 샹드 주야디 장주성 거면아래 차도 대화디 장주성 거는 연구리 풀 팬배디 장주성 거는 연구리 전 송도가 사진의 인도산에 다 팬배 상바디 뭐네 다 지금 랑생기 배 뒤니 탈신 뭐 영향이 다배 가서 그렇게 다탑 쪽으로디 다 어딘지 샴페인으로디 다 차대요. 근데 이게 다 거버쯤제 대달 통해 관에 땅에 배 먼저 전에겠다 타에 심지어 타다로 팬드 주야기 제도 남기 계획고 봐다 주보를 차 톱을 쇼지 냠배 또 들이 로디 게네 다디베 튜 남도야 마지버시니 다 니르신도 찬수던 게 인사마체 애니 가지다 지금 무슬림들 지금 크리스천주의 다가는 신기 다 군주 고바 가서 군주 공부 가려야 돼 땅에 최신도 두고 인사마체 고바시는 집다
And so when we sometimes talk about us working for others, when we talk about altruism, dedicating ourselves for others, sometimes people tend to think that think that it is about others and not taking care of oneself. And actually that is not true, because when you actually do things out of selfish motive alone, what happens is you are not able to fulfill your goal as well. And so the Master Shantideva says in his Bodhisattvacharya Avatara, all suffering in the world come from selfish motive. Yes. No. And so this verse is actually like a summary of what Master Nagarjuna says in his Ratnavali and Bodhichitta Vivarana. And so what Master Shantideva says is all suffering in the world comes from this selfish motive, and all happiness and blissful experiences in the world come from cherishing others over oneself. And so, and therefore, what this shows is that taking care of others is more important than just being selfish. And as a summary to this, later Master Shantideva also said, what more is there? What more could I say? Look at the difference between the Buddhas, who have become enlightened, and the childish, and who are remained due to selfishness in samsara. And then and also Master Shantideva goes on to make this summary, where he says that if you do not exchange one's own happiness with the suffering of others, leave alone reaching Buddhahood, but even in samsara you will not have happiness. And so being selfish actually makes us suffer more. And so you are not able to accomplish or fulfill your own goal, either temporary or the long-term goal, but you cause yourself more problems. And therefore, being selfish is not a wise thing to do, not something that a wise person would do. Whereas, although you may be because of selfishness, you may be able to fulfill small goals, but then ultimately you will not be able to overcome your suffering or others' suffering. And therefore, thinking of others over oneself, thinking of the well-being of others over one's own well-being, and dedicating to serve others is a way of the wise. And so, although there may be, temporarily some problems, but then ultimately you'll actually be able to fulfill the lasting goal. And therefore, in Bodhisattvacharya Avatara, Master Shantideva says that bodhichitta is that one thing which actually makes you accomplish your own goal and the interest of others, whether they are temporary or lasting. And therefore, bodhicitta is that factor which actually makes you to accomplish the ultimate purpose of yourself and others. And therefore, here you should actually determine yourself to be able to achieve Buddhahood for the benefit of others, and this ultimate goal of Buddhahood, and also make this prayer or the aspiration, may I be able to become a Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. And for those of you who follow other religious traditions like Islam or Christianity and so forth, you could actually make this determination in your heart that you will carry out the will of your God.
Oh yeah.
So on a daily basis, also, you should remind yourself of this pledge that you are making today.
Yeah. 지자 준주 디송구도가 대외 경의 근세에 전주섬기 따셨네. 대내 대화를 넣어라. 심시수시 기루유로 세송셔야 돼. 뭐냐리샤. 지금 뭐냐 지금 선을 쪼알래야. 선을 뽑을래야. that's digital.
And in Master Shantideva's Bodhisattvacharya Avatara, he also says, thus which wise or intelligent person would actually despair to ride the horse of bodhichitta, which leads one from bliss to bliss. And so, in fact, if you think along these lines, it's quite true that bodhicitta brings so much joy and also determination and courage within yourself.
오야. 다잖아. 자, 대부분은 조사슈다.
Could you
구자이면서 가게 맵세. 다샤.
kneel on your right knee or crouch?
까못 한다면은 유샤.
So if you have bad knees, it's okay. Those who are sitting,
sitting okay.
those who are on chair, it's okay. Just be seated on your chair.
다디 벽에다. Now
So
repeat
we are
after
going to
me.
repeat these 4 lines.
군조 숨러
I
덕접지.
seek refuge in the 3 jewels.
딕바 탐제 소소샤.
Confess all misdeeds individually.
드라에 겔라 제이랑
I rejoice in the virtues of all beings.
상제 정주 이지 숭.
I take to heart Buddha's enlightenment.
군조 숨러 덕접지.
I seek refuge in the 3 jewels.
딕바 탐제
I
소소샤.
confess all misdeeds individually.
드라에 겔라
I
제이랑
rejoice in the virtues of all beings.
상제 정주 이지
I
숭.
take to heart Buddha's enlightenment.
군조 숨러 덕접지.
I seek refuge in the 3 jewels.
딕바 탐제
I
소소샤.
confess all needs individually.
드라에 겔라
I
제이랑
rejoice in the virtues of all beings.
상제 정주 이지 숭.
I take to heart Buddha's enlightenment.
아야. 담아주시.
Please sit down.
So this kind of altruism combined with wisdom is really very, very powerful. That, like I think Diri Kasa, law shukpar jaching Kasa,
Switch.
ka
Switch. Regulator.
regulator.
No.
I think this kind of sort of mental thinking is something like regulator. When we too much proud, arrogance, this thinking, a little
Mellows you down.
Then you see too much is demoralized, and feeling some kind of hopelessness. Then you see this, go like that. So, these I think really wonderful sort of method. Our mind is quite sort of sophisticated. So due to certain sort of thinking, anger, or these negative emotions. So these training of mind really acting like regulator. And then this not only just sort of the warm-heartedness, but combined with intelligence, which analyze the possibility of reduce these destructive emotion, because these destructive emotion no sound basis. So all these is very, very, very powerful. So then, of course, altruism, love, is something common to all major world religious sort of practice. And then the Buddhism, the wisdom side, although complicated, but very, very effective if you properly study and contemplate years, as I mentioned yesterday, at the yesterday also, like that. So, That's the That's in a dinda, Jenna. Handy.
So now we begin with the blessing.
That Gabewange, Lama de Jizabean Carpucci, Jan Carpucci, the Samachi set up. Any Dunjig Nedelean, Jan Carpucci, Samachi, the Kudandi Nation.
So for the purpose, for the very specific purpose of the taking part in this blessing, imagine here the Guru, His Holiness himself, as in the form of white Manjushri, and also on the altar you should imagine there is a Manjushri in person there.
Oh yeah. 다 주자배양다 고순투기 첼로 달자라나 세지기 된데기다 심내 소화시다.
So in your mind, make a request to the Guru and the deities to please grant me the blessing of the body, speech, and mind of Manjushri.
다잖아. 왕톱 용해주 다 급대 런이 장가불 기야체 왕톱 모뇽에게 주를 기야체 다 니게 당야리아 동니고미야다.
So next we go through the process of transforming ourselves, visualizing transforming ourselves into Manjushri. So for those of you who have received the full-fledged initiation before, you may actually go through this process of actually imagining that you are transforming into Manjushri, white Manjushri. And those of you who have not received any full-fledged initiation, you may visualize Manjushri appearing on your crown. And so for this purpose, now let's go through the process of meditation on emptiness.
And 고마르조 아니 Manjushri 이게 배 땜부지 여삼삼 동안 시만 Manjushri 다 쇼다.
So if you are bald, without hair, then if you have to visualize Manjushri on your crown, imagine Manjushri really sitting firmly on your head, otherwise he would slip.
가부들이 주부리 가부 제너다 로만 고마르지 단 도다는데 들으셔 아니 이 주를 고르자는 거
So there was a story, and there was an instance when one disciple was taking part in an initiation like this, and he had to imagine Manjushri on his head, because he was bald and he had no hair. Whenever however much he tried to imagine Manjushri on his crown, he always got this impression that Manjushri slipped down. So let's first meditate on emptiness.
당에 책이 몸루루 책 삼다나 냠냠 뒤부지야베나 풍부 레시민 텔레테미 다지샤오 풍데민 다지샤오 컨시스 남게지고딘다.
And so just to do this meditation on emptiness briefly by using some text, let us think of along these lines of the 22nd chapter, the first verse in the 22nd chapter of Master Nagarjuna's text, which says, neither the aggregates nor different from the aggregates. The aggregates are not in him, nor is he in the aggregates. The Tathagata does not possess the aggregates. What is the Tathagata? And so here what we are using is the fivefold reasoning to demonstrate emptiness. And so let's think along these lines.
Yes.
And so here, instead of saying what is the Tathagata, instead of in the place of the Tathagata, you can switch use yourself. That the I do not possess the aggregates. Who am I?
다야 고물루 리지터나리야 기부스미 추모이 메미 루미 난가미 남시모이 꾸미나 텔레션에 기부감. This understand.
And also, let us think along these lines from Ratnavali by Nagarjuna. A person is not the earth.
다소수 수풍차데 수직이 다 먼저 되면 되와.
Not the earth, water, fire, wind, space.
Not earth. I think solid.
No,
part of our body, the solid thing. You can't find self. Then liquid. You can't find self. Then heat. You can't find. Then movement. Or
Movement, motion.
Or motion. You can't find. Then consciousness. Also you can't find. Most as a Buddhist school of thought, they consider ultimately a self, the pinpoint about consciousness. But then it is absolutely wrong. My consciousness. That we can usually say, my body, my consciousness. So that means I, the owner, consciousness is the possessor.
The possession.
Possession. And then also, you see, we can further investigate consciousness at the awakened state consciousness. If that is self, then during sleep, no longer self. Then we can't say, I sleep. Or someone say, or that person sleeping. So person still there. So the grosser level of consciousness no longer there. So then at the time of death, it's a very, very subtle, innermost or subtle level consciousness there. If that is self, then before that, no self. Or when is it that consciousness stop, there's no longer self. So therefore, now where is self? Tadinda. Didi teleshana kibukangsene. Taya 5 seconds. Diyang pojo chiloliya atmasyache yamarista.
And so Master Nagarjuna's Ratnavali says that what else, apart from these different elements, what else is a person? And so the person cannot be found within these aggregates or the different elements, the solidity and so forth, nor can it be found outside of these.
오늘 다 매버려서는 말이스. 다 여자한테 가르쳐서는 기부 컴주 뉘베 칠스. 컴주 뉘벌 때냈다고 그랬어. 컴주 뉘 썸그 때는 다 샤버렸어. 진짜 인도 기부 컴주 양다머이 스타워. 때문에 랑자에 다 야마리스. 다 매버렸어 그 말이. 때문에 랑자에 다 야마리스.
And so, having said that, the person can neither be found within the aggregates nor outside of it. Does it mean that there is no self at all? That's not the case, because then Master Nagarjuna goes on to say because a person is a combination of the 6 elements.
Designated on the combination.
No, designated on the basis of these 6 elements. Therefore, there is no independently existing person. And therefore, the person is merely designated. And
대신 감내人양 duji yangda need to means. Da kansa kandu dagwe shi, the sachu, nanga sachu melung, namshi sa di, pa tadun zana, niya maris. Di, ko dubel tene, the chashan dubel tene, any sachu melung sina, tako zamato, yamaris. Or the Hindu, Dashi Pungudi, Zana, near Kunimeting. That quantum physics did lead to a quantum physics, Sumugan Ligorba. Soul of Didi, Shiva Indizan, Shiva Gijing Chacha Yundu, Chachare. The Subundi, that or Sujenji Indizane, that the quantum physics kind of some Dabina, near Medavichi. Not the Indizane, Dashi Kore, Dadazana, near Meduzane. 다 될 때는 딱 당시에 대자는 이야기도 sabdoda.
And so when we actually look into these different elements that make up a person, you cannot find the person from within these different elements. And similarly, if you check or into these different elements as well, Master Nagarjuna says that these elements are also designated, on the basis of the combination of these different elements themselves. And so, see, in each of these elements, if you were to actually try to look for some kind of an entity that you can pinpoint as being the fire or heat and so forth, I mean, there's nothing that you can find in them as well. And so, so what is designated within that object, you cannot find the object itself if you really look for them. And therefore, this is similar to so now with regard to the person, a person is designated on the basis of the combination of these elements, and then these elements too cannot be found within themselves. And so it is similar to when it comes to the matter, like body, the physical matter. I mean, it's similar to what quantum physics say these days, that nothing can be found objectively. And therefore, it becomes clear, wherever you look for a person within these elements or the combination of the five aggregates and so forth, nothing can be found to be the person as such.
다들 디드도 상을 담배이나 아니 대서 계산자지 아니 다른 굶어지는 나로 뒤송도가 땡카라 춘신 땡버신 인랑스 미게는 나무로 녀나게 잡아 멀리 높스 다 도우세가 다들 전에 상을도 담배이나 다 각해 니야 매드비기 아니 거 로티기 다들 전에 네모로 콜라 nothingness 되기도 가
And so the seventh Dalai Lama, the omniscient Master Geshe Gyatso, has also said that just as the clouds in the autumn season dissipates into space, likewise all these variety, the diversity of things that come into our perception also dissolve within this experience of the emptiness and that you realize. And so when you meditate on emptiness and you actually realize that nothing really exists independently, there is this sense that you get. There is this sense in your mind, mind, in the certainty in your mind that nothing is there.
You see, mind now you see penetrate what's the reality. Then you see the reality, you see nothing independently exists. So the mind, you see, deliberately try to the ultimate reality. So ultimate reality, nothing exists by itself. So that moment you feel nothingness. But this is actually not nothingness. The very nature, not independent, they exist. So independent existence, really nothing, never. So now this moment, you see,
your mind concentrate or penetrate, right? Penetrate into that ultimate reality, then feel something empty. So now try to remain on that without losing feeling of, you see, ultimately nothing exists by objectively, by independently. Then again, then you see when we sensorial sort of consciousness, these things develop.
Now, at the post-meditation session, when you come out of that meditation,
again, the seventh Dalai Lama is mentioned. 나와 나서 소주의 신두나, 소주의 다 신두, 그러다 다 맨날 얘기하지. 나와 나서 소주의 신두나 시설체 니주 스스통, 루지 규매 때문에 대나다, 대노 마냥 아니 동리지 못돼, 사다데 나도 못되고서 릭도가. 어다 딩 안에 아니 자주성으로 장야다. 어다 드드 상황도 딩 안에 들어대고.
and then when you come out of this meditation on emptiness, where you are absorbed, your mind is absorbed in emptiness, where there's a sense of there being really nothing, but you still do not lose the view or the perspective that things do not have any independent existence. Then when you come out of that meditation, what happens is the seventh Dalai Lama says that at this crossroad of the diverse perceptions, there is this, I can still see the deceptive nature of things. And so do not, get caught up in some kind of a true independent existence in things, but bring up this certainty that things are empty.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you're able to do that, see the things being like illusion, then this also helps in cultivation of bodhichitta and compassion.
Oh yeah. So now let us meditate at least a few seconds, not hours, but just few seconds. Because it's actually the Gana Yawarda. So some Ruduna Kala Tikasa, Tension Devon, Tenet Tomba, Tenet Dawa, the Tinu Melamino. Because you don't want me, because you didn't do me, Chonga woman, did you want me, Chonga woman, Statican to Sana? The ship gave it to Sumudua. Kala Ten Junior, Tenet Rawan Minuro. Digging around me about the Tanatani Yamain, instead of Lord Henny Shashana.
And so, when meditating on emptiness, it would be good to, if you actually know it by heart, to go over these two verses from the 24th chapter of Mula Madhyamaka Karika, verses number 18 and 19, which says that which is dependently originated is explained to be emptiness, and that being dependent designation is itself the middle way. There does not exist anything that is not dependently arisen, therefore there does not exist anything that is not empty. And also from you can think along these lines from the 400 verses by Master Aryadeva, which says, what arises through dependence has no autonomy. And since all these are without autonomy, there is no self.
어야. 나 진짜기 동번이 다 전식 로래야. 지금 몇 번씩 지금 받아 샤드버티 디니 아니 네. 지 소식이 다 그냥 다 로래 소식 我们出生的我们家族 디가리아 아니 배마가고 디지기 때문이야 다된 디잖아 아니 네 소소다 전제 동ning 녜베 로티 와 동ning 녜베다 로티 아니 이거 어이 가부치도 세다 어이 가부치도 세 대용수 주발에 장 가고 되도스 예 조지 아니 이런 뜻인지 아니 의벌의 동부 레몬지 산이에 되었다 되지 되었어 교수 삼아체 양와 모터버 집에는 랑이 줄이야 어다 랑이기 동유도베 아니 수능 아니 지수 잡아야 세트 랑이 줄이야 아니 지기여 삼아체 두스자.
And so, having done this meditation on emptiness, whatever kind of experience of emptiness you may have gone through, now imagine, even if it may have just been in your, kind of imagination that you realize emptiness, imagine now this realization or this experience of emptiness, transforming this experience of the mind of emptiness, transforming into yourself as Manjushri. So for this visualization, now imagine that there is a huge white milk ocean of milk, a mist in the center of which is a lotus, white lotus, and on top of the lotus, in the center, imagine a moon disk. And in the center of that moon disk, now your mind, essentially your mind in the form of an R syllable, and that mind which ascertains emptiness, and so that mind which has actually ascertained and realized emptiness and ascertaining emptiness, that imagine that R syllable in the form of that mind in the form of R syllable transforming into yourself as Manjushri, white in color. And as you can see in this picture, the right hand is, so Manjushri is sitting cross-legged and with right hand in the gesture of giving supreme siddhi, and left hand in the gesture of, in holding at his heart the lotus, and on top of which is the scripture. And so this is for those who have, as said earlier, for those who have received a full-fledged initiation before. But those of you who have not received a full-fledged initiation before, you could imagine this mind which is absorbed in emptiness and ascertaining emptiness. From this, the Manjushri arising. Imagine Manjushri arising in such a form on your crown, sitting on your crown.
Oh yeah. 다 대대로 자배양게 자월 구도지모 옴가고 드보송도지모 아모 이거 투도지모 홍 등나.
And on the three places of this such a Manjushri that you have imagined, either yourself as a Manjushri or Manjushri on your crown, imagine at these three places the forehead. Imagine on the forehead white R syllable symbolizing or representing the Vajra body of Manjushri, and at the throat, imagine a red R syllable representing Manjushri's Vajra speech, and at your heart, imagine a blue Hum syllable representing the Vajra mind of Manjushri.
자배양 구티. 단 든지 자배안에 랑자시 중에 향소를 막 팀수 삼바치야. 향수지 주를 세더니는 달마 팀니. 아니 진이도 수 삼바치야.
And the next, from the Manjushri and the altar that we have imagined, imagine the rays of light coming from his forehead and dissolving into the R syllable at your forehead and blessing you. And for those of you who are imagining Manjushri on your crown, also you imagine receiving blessing with the rays of light that come from Manjushri's forehead, touching the Manjushri on your crown. And
come near. That's what I shot with Oh, yeah. Those. Oh. Sanji Kunji Kujo, Sanji Kunji Kuyin, the Sanji Kuyi Chinlebe. Jabe and you could also zong wong zong wong zong wong zong wong zong wong zong wong zong zong wong 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 zong zong hong bam hos. Oh yeah. That digi any chassis chi sugute tayo chik any mission da zole pigata tonwa the teba the report digi any kada paru simgulya chik 김나다 가나요야지 어떻게 지도 봐 진로 도서 사바치야 터도 에네 지자베가 더 굿비야 네버 샤소 사바치
And with this blessing of the body, imagine that you have received blessings for physical health and for yourself, and also, because of this blessing, whoever sees you or hears about you or even touches you, imagine that this blessing also helps them to give joy and happiness in them. And ultimately, what this blessing does is it helps you to attain the purified body of Manjushri.
Yeah.
So this leaves that kind of imprint on your mind.
Dan dungi jambe yangi the tugalia any kolo karbo zip chuba wa chiksamta. 다 집투 düğünlük yani beşata dokşeni 간다다 숨 조체니 지송아 다 샤체 다 샤르서치 근데 손누서치 엔트는 남자 차샤스선다 집투 지송아 집투치 노선다 노치체 집투치 된데게다 집디리 지기 ready na besoro pe ani ba chode nge ji som ta di tewali ya 이 아시성다 이 아체 다 사변 되네 집주는 눈에 야고라 마 독수여듯이 이거 주세요. 당아리들다 와kin다나마 독세 다들 지성다 다드네 대대를 아다 둥기 지수 잡아야 게 응앙골에 아니 왜서 빠져 보충 아니 저널로만 넘기 준벌마 팀제 준벌을 저는 잡아야 수사 세외 마샤나마 슈디 아니 닝게 이게 의들 팀잖아 의패지 야무서 의들만 팀 제 인더 진두샤래 되게 차는 되죠 그러죠 안 들어가래 오래 인담신다
So at the heart of Manjushri, yourself as Manjushri or Manjushri on your crown, at his heart, imagine this a wheel white wheel with 6 spokes. Now the spokes are one spoke is in the front and one at the back, and then 2 on the 2 sides, and then one in the east and west, and then 1 each also on the northeast and southeast. And so in this way you have 6 spokes around the wheel at your heart. And similarly
I think first mala, then the kasajuti, sweet later. Should not eat now, keep. Okay.
Yes. And so at these 6 spokes of the wheel, imagine these 6 syllables, an Om in the front, and then to go in the
Om wa ke da na ma.
And so go clockwise, Om in the front first, and then Wa, and then next on the next spoke Ke, and then on the next one is Dhyan, and then on the next one Na, and the last spoke has Ma on it. And then in the center of this wheel, imagine A syllable. And so in the center A, and then Om, Wa, Ke, Dan, Na, Ma. And so also from these spokes of the wheel, imagine rays of light coming. And now having imagined this spoke, the wheel, and
the Manjushris come through Manjushri's mouth,
now,
then enter your heart.
like that. And so the rays of light come from the mantra at the heart of the Guru and the Manjushri on the in front, and they come out of the mouth of the deity and the Guru, and then enter and dissolve, enter into you through your mouth, and dissolves the light dissolves into the R syllable at your heart.
Now repeat after me. Om Wakye Dhanama.
Please repeat. Om Wakye Dhanama.
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 Now 21. Recite together. Om Wakye Dhanama. 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 Om Wakye Dhanama, 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 Om Wakye Dhanama. Okay, now perhaps Arabas also, I think, recite together. Om Arabaza Nadi, 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 Om Arabaza Nadi. Now, no? I think now the di. You see that? Just kasa syllable. One word, right?
Now,
Di.
The D syllable. Let us repeat.
Now that ujimchilida.
In one breath. So take a deep breath, and then we should recite or repeat this D syllable in one breath.
Chiminalia dus yigdij dimmasage settle. And did it this little dinama, dirma, and ninga the Ajuva, Derma Timcha.
So in your throat, imagine a D syllable, orange in color, and as you recite or repeat this D syllable, imagine D from this D syllable in your throat. Numerous D's actually drip like a dripping of butter and into your heart.
Yeah. Now. Oma arabazana Okay. 다디마 다디김도 다디기 숨으시는 몰려 주버 줄지 이제 다디 패열이야 내가 체주 좀be 자활을 개바당 더도 송양 아니 주야게 누가샤 되시도
And so the significance of this blessing of speech is that in the temporary goal, as a temporary goal, you become proficient in composing, debating, or arguing, and also teaching others. And then the ultimate goal is the significance is to leave an imprint in your mind stream for the melodious voice of Manjushri.
다전에 잠백 투기 쳐놓 아니 저러나선 닝네 소다.
So make in your mind, make a firm request, a fervent request for the Guru to grant you the blessing of the mind of Manjushri.
Yeah. 다전에 별로 니가 륜에 짰어. 스스로다. 단 찬도다. 구자간다 계속입니다. 다가다 강바 도지 기둥감 기둥 쳐봐.
And so, since we have to sit in this meditation posture, those of you who are on chair, be seated like that. But if you are able to sit in what is known as the full Vajra posture, usually called the lotus posture, do that. If not, then half lotus Vajra posture is also fine. So straighten your. It's not necessary that you should force yourself to sit in that posture.
아데 륜의 자원이 강보기로 라냠샤 라고예모.
And hold your hands in this meditation posture.
다시 내주면은 제니 다 둔진 남걸 민심들이야 이게 아까 붙였어요.
Nice. And having seated in this posture, imagine an R syllable right before you at the level of your mid eyebrows. R syllable, white in color.
Oh, white color. 다 미기에
So with your eyes, look at this R syllable that you imagine, and with your mind also, imagine, just focus your mind on that R syllable. So next you have to repeat this
together.
21
It was 21 syllables.
No. repeat this R syllable 21 times. Let us repeat it together.
다들 아디 바칼레 가를 파다 자야원의 신 파이해서 버체.
So now imagine that this R syllable you have imagined before you kind of disappears, like the disappearance of the rainbow.
다 참배 낭시스베 쳔디 탐절로 모니기 두매 사버치기 야 동니기 던 잡버체 아니 대가나야
So just like the art or any other phenomena, think that nothing exists independently, and fix your mind on emptiness.
아다시다. 아진자야 와신도 얘네 미국매베 동번이 또버 탐자다 자와라 셀리 싱이 예와 심 진에서 냐버 샤스 되네 로메주 메도지 샤라 어머 도저는 뭐는 줄 지순 잠배야 이제 구송수지 전화 멀르번 주고 교로 제 So
with this, we are done with the blessing of the mind of Manjushri.
That depends. Negosu chelo lonjoshing. Todu shishdewa the chiniba kembe, nabatraji kembe yishi, dorji, toben nubasha.
So what this blessing of the mind of Manjushri helps is to turn your mind at the temporary level, to turn your mind towards the Dharma, and then ultimately it helps you to realize omniscience within yourself, which is to say, which comprises the seeing things, the diversity of things as well as the reality as it is, simultaneously.
And
next is the So in your mind again, make a fervent request to the Guru to give the blessing of the knowledge or the qualities, enlightened qualities and enlightened deeds of Manjushri.
Yeah. Tajana. 다 라메 잠베선주 레범 엔찬주 라도 대시 자디게니 연대의 칠릭 다 친로 토소 삼바치 도스나쇼.
And so as the Guru gives the text of Manjushri Nama Sangiti, chanting the names of Manjushri to you, imagine that you have been blessed to
okay. Tadus. Samoloch. Okay. That is a pain negosu jigwen a cashing. Simji turn dashable drubata. Todu Jambe Yang Langa Yunzen Chile Tamje and it's a toyak. Chinlo Sabashi.
So with this blessing, through the Manjushri Namasangiti scripture, imagine that you are, you receive the blessings to be able to, so that you become proficient in the 5 different sciences, and then ultimately it helps you to reach the state of Manjushri. So Manjushri's enlightened qualities and
now that sweet. Take that sweet. Okay. Prasad, prasad. So now completed. And Bejdi ma. Koya Bejdi Gurugiwe. Kodo, Bejdi Kodeso. Oh, gosh. So Saji, Bejdi Juji Mata, Nijin, Jambandi,
Saji Shindo Miki,
Thank you. So now, this year's also some lecture organized by the foundation, now completed. So, a real improvement comes only if you carry this sort of
into practice. In practice.
This practice with fuller knowledge. For that, require study. So, when I was young, I have no interest for study. It's a very lazy student. At then age, I think around 15, 16, then gradually there's some interest develop. Then study, and simultaneously thinking. So that I think now I realize it's the immense help. As this mentioned, firstly, better health, healthy body. Age, no force can stop. Right?
No.
So
Stop.
Age never remain stand still. Right?
No.
Each minute, each second, go like that. So now reach 80 years old.
This is a gesture of appreciation from the Satyajit Rajan of the Taj Hotel.
Thank you.
Who've been most generously supportive of our teachings and events, and many of you have dealt with Thupten Savangla of the foundation, who has really worked tirelessly through many a long night. Your Holiness, before you, we just wanted to express our deep, profound appreciation beyond any words for the time that you give us each year, and for the blessings of your presence, for who you are and all that you do. But I won't interrupt.
Yes.
What we did, and I will request all of you to look at this long life prayer. Your Holiness, in sort of layman's terms, are I know there are 300 odd full hearts here.
No.
The
So there are 300 full hearts here who are deeply grateful and who you have transformed, and we would like together a brief long life prayer for your long life and above all your good health, and may your many incarnations be in India, that you, whenever it happens, and I hope it will be a long time coming, and that we continue to benefit from your wisdom, And I have no doubt that you have described us in India as the gurus, but I think that role has long, long ago reversed, and we really remain the chelas. So, to the guru, may I, if you will just sort of follow me on this, to all the victorious Buddhas of the 3 times, endowed with 10 powers, and who are even masters of the gods, and whose attributes of perfection are the source of all compassionate deeds, benefiting the vast ocean-like realm of sentient beings. To you we offer prayers with fervent devotion, that Tenzin Gyatso, protector of the land of snows, live for 100 eons. Shower on him your blessings, so that his aspirations are fulfilled without hindrance. To the assembly of sacred doctrine, embodied in the 3 vehicles, supremely serene, a jeweled treasure of enlightenment, stainless, unchanging, eternally good, and the glory of all virtues, which actually liberates beings from the suffering of the 3 worlds. To you we offer prayers with fervent devotion, that Tenzin Gyatso, protector of the land of snows, live for 100 eons. Shower on him your blessings, so that his aspirations are fulfilled without hindrance. Thus to this congregation of excellent, undeceiving refuge, we pray that by the power of this prayer, expressed from a heart filled with fervent devotion and humility, may the body, speech and mind of the soul of the land of snows, the supreme Nawang Lobsang Tenzin Gyatso, be indestructible, unfluctuating and unceasing. May he live for 100 eons, seated on a diamond throne, transcending decay and destruction. You are the jewel heart, embodying all compassionate, beneficial deeds. O most courageous one, you carry on your shoulders the burden of all the Buddhas of infinite realms. May all your noble aspirations be fulfilled as intended. May the nectar stream of the blessings of the lotus holder always enter our hearts and nourish them with strength. May we please you with offerings of dedicated practice, and may we reach beyond the shores of perfect compassionate deeds. Through the blessings of the wondrous Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, by the infallible truth of the laws of dependent origination, and by the purity of our fervent aspirations, may the aims of our prayer be fulfilled without hindrance.